Come back to old Yazoo.
Welcome to Lord Pog Gaming, and I'm your humble host, Lord Pog. Today I got a weird one for you Golden Wonders out there.
Look, I made you some content. Daddy made you your favorite open wide.
As it was my daughter who requested I do the review on this game. If any of y'all have heard of this game before, then you know why it's so wild that of all the games she would ask me to review, the one she's asked for is Bad Parenting.
No way!
And no, she's not projecting. No parent is 100%, but I'd like to think I'm doing my best. Before we get into all that though, and this game, first let me ask one humble request. If you're new to the channel and I got you feeling a type of way by the end, then feel free to subscribe.
You're Daisy if you do.
And regardless of new or old viewers, like and share the video also, as it helps the channel grow. Plus sign my guest book if it tickle your fancy. My guest book being my comment section. And ring my bell for notifications. Okay? That's my sales pitch. I won't harp on it any longer.
Well, I don't like to harp on a subject,
I don't care. It comes with me, never have. That's why they call me gregarious.
Let's get on with today's Steam review of Bad Parenting. Before we get started, I think it's only fair that I give a content warning here. I won't spoil the game, but I am going to have to go over a few uncomfortable topics that Bad Parenting tackles. So if any of you Golden Wonders out there are the type to get uncomfortable easily, here's your warning. Trust me, if you have to go, I completely understand and you'll get no judgment here.
Look, go away!
Now, for everyone else who has stuck around, buckle up because we're going down the rabbit hole. Developed and published by 2002, there's not actually a whole lot of lore behind the game. I know I said that about Indica in my last video, but I mean it this time.
You liar!
This of course puts me in a rather odd predicament, because I don't honestly know what to say about Bad Parenting's development, other than it was released October 9th, 2004, so it's as fresh as a daisy. It has overwhelmingly good reviews on Steam, with one reviewer saying this is how horror should be. Then they proceeded to give it a 9 out of 10, with another review giving it a 10 out of 10, saying they can't wait for the second part. Which does bring me to another aspect about Bad Parenting, and that its full name is Bad Parenting 1 Mr. Redface, which is in the spirit of TV shows like American Horror Story and Slasher. This game feels like an anthology horror series of games, where each part will be different, unpleasant, but a captivating experience.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm all for it, as Bad Parenting is by all rights a true horror story, with a few supernatural elements thrown in there for good measure. So let's talk about the plot of Bad Parenting, and its gameplay. It is a horror game by every stretch of the imagination, but what makes it so terrifying is the fact that despite its supernatural undertone, it deals with a very realistic issue in the world we live in. To put it into perspective, if 2002 were to completely remove the imagination part of the game that deals with the supernatural, it would still be an incredibly effective horror game.
It really puts perspective on things, though, doesn't it?
Not
You know?
too much. There's
Well,
too much
yeah,
fucking
there's-
perspective now.
And that's what makes this Bad Parenting both brilliant and sad. Without spoiling the game too much, it's a story about a boy named Ron and his magical doll of the same name. Ron's home life is one that a lot of children deal with on a daily basis. His mama is overworked and never home, while his dad is a drunk bum who is abusive to everyone in the house. While I've noticed this growing trend in making fathers seem awful here lately in media, and as a father who loves his family, it does bother me when the dad is portrayed as the bad guy constantly these days. Yet, where I believe that bad parenting resonates in a different way here is how honest it actually is trying to be. Do I think the narrative that games like Gone Home are trying to say, when they say that if the mother is at fault, it's because of the husband, but if the husband is at fault, it's solely because of him? No, and I'm not trying to make this one of those types of videos, but a game like Bad Parenting does draw upon these types of emotions and lines of thought. So y'all might be saying right now, but Pog, I thought you said this wasn't a political channel.
Oh, well, allow me to retort.
It's not, and I'm not trying to be either. Why I think Bad Parenting presents this very real aspect of horror in a lot of children's daily lives, while games like Gone Home poop the bed,
Watch your profanity.
is because as a man, I've known men like the dad in Bad Parenting before, and I can honestly say that real men have no respect for a guy like this. To be fair, I've known stay-at-home dads, and a lot of them are good men. The dad Ron has is anything but. He's abusive, lazy, and a drunk who beats Ron and Ron's mama, letting her go out and work, then has the nerve to accuse her of cheating when she has to work late. It's just heartbreaking. And that's exactly why it's so terrifying. There are real people out there living this way. Ron's mama works so much and so hard that she forgets his birthday, forcing her to tell Ron about a fictional character named Mr. Redface, who may or may not be real. I know I just called him fictitious.
Lay off me.
But Saint Nick was a real man, and y'all out here trying to say Santa doesn't exist. True immortality comes from people speaking your name after you're gone, folks. After a pretty Courage the Cowardly Dog moment, Ron wakes the next day to find he has a new toy also named Ron. A magical doll who explains to him that Mr. Redface has spirited away his father, which sends Ron on a quest to stop Mr. Redface. Eventually, Mr. Redface takes Ron's mama too, and with the help of Doll Ron, Boy Ron goes on a quest to save his family. I don't want to ruin much more.
You're a bit late for that!
But I can't honestly recommend playing Bad Parenting either. The themes and driving narrative could hit too close to home for some, while forcing those who have had it so well to take stock of our inner selves. It's never a comfortable thing to do. And that's why no matter which side of the fence the player sits on, there is a true, genuine horror to be had here. A horror that, much like Edgar Allan Poe was so notorious for, it plays off the inner self, that darkness that we as people don't much care looking into, that place where the monstrosities of reality become interpretations of the supernatural, blurring the lines to the point where fantasy, no matter how dreadful, is a far better recourse than facing the truth of the matter. Can we honestly close ourselves off to those truths and let our imaginations fill in the gaps? To quote the Raven, nevermore. Before I end this video,
Here we go again.
I want to address the elephant in the room.
Because of the implication.
Yes, this game was recommended to me by my 10-year-old daughter. And if you're familiar with it, then you know just how wild that is. If you're not familiar with Bad Parenting yet, well, it's $1.99 on Steam. That's $1.99. I personally rate it an 8 out of 10, which I would have given it a higher score, but it's a little too short for my liking. Now, y'all can imagine how I felt when my daughter asked me to play this, and what it felt like after I did. My first inclination was to ask her if she understood what it was about, which she told me she didn't, but not because she couldn't, but that she hadn't seen any of the gameplay on it, only that one of the channels she watches on YouTube had mentioned it, saying it was scary. That somehow didn't make me feel better though, because I know she wants to know what bad parenting is about. So I found myself stuck in this weird place where, if I withhold it from her, she's liable to just find out anyway. Yet if I just go full tilt, I may scar her emotionally, since as it stands right now, she's not fully aware that families can be in that kind of condition Ron and his family are in. She knows that not all families are perfect, and she knows that ours is anything but. And it's about this time y'all might be asking, Pog, why are you even explaining this to us? Because it's important for me and this channel that you Golden Wonders know I don't subject my little girl to graphic material. And it's important that you Golden Wonders know that I am at full disclosure with y'all. I am an open book, and I try to be as honest with y'all as I possibly can. So it is important that y'all know that I did give her a sort of explanation about what this game was and what it entails. Because it's like my pop told me once, if someone really wants to do something, they'll find a way, regardless of how many roadblocks you put in their path. In this case, I chose to give my daughter a more watered down explanation, while still appealing to the reality that some children have to really live through this in their life. This way, I help to control the narrative by cultivating her empathetic nature without emotionally damaging her and just subjecting her to the harsh reality and saying, deal with it. Nobody ever got anywhere emotionally by being told to man up, or deal with it, or life is tough. It can be used to be as a funny joke, but when it's really important like this, you should try and be as gentle as possible while being as honest as possible. So I hope this helps to clear this up with everyone, and I hope that your judgment of my parenting isn't too harsh. I love my daughter, I love my family, and if nothing else, bad parenting helped to introduce me to the real fear of knowing that no matter how hard I try to soften realities for my family, the harsh truths are still going to make their way in. Best I can do is try and help their understanding of it as best as I can, while trying not to smack a wall myself.
Yoinks! And away!
Well, that's all I got for Bad Parenting 1, Mr. Redface. And I gotta say, it does exactly what it sets out to do. It not only affected me from a gameplay perspective, but it also crept into my real life and gave me some turmoil there too. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and share it. And if you're new,
Please whatever.
then feel free to subscribe. I try to make my channel easy to navigate, where my playlists are pretty comprehensive, and I try to have a little bit of something for everyone. So check her out. Or don't. But seriously.
Do it.
Oh, and for those of you Golden Wonders out there waiting on my final installment of the best 4 RPGs ever released on the Sega Genesis retro review, which I call my R&Rs, I'm almost finished with the final game. I actually got sidetracked to do this for my daughter.
For Frodo.
But I promise it's on the way soon. And one final thing, this channel isn't meant to be political. In fact, despite whatever differences we may all have when it comes to those real world divides, everyone is welcome here because gaming should be a place where we all belong. I want every last one of you to know that even though we've never met and we might have a difference in beliefs at times, when it comes to gaming, I'll fight side by side with you against any horde or foe. I love y'all with my very heart and soul. Y'all come back now. Stay golden.